everybody, welcome back to Nickvember as we continue on our little pattern here. Today, we're taking a look back at the first thing I ever reviewed. That's right, we're talking about Henry Danger again. And before I go on, let me just say, this was a show that I was not expecting a fan base to come at me really of. But it turns out, there are a lot of people who actually apparently do like this show. Enough that I got 4 dislikes on it and 6 likes. That's a 40% dislike ratio, and I mean, well, it's fine. Opinions are opinions. It got me wondering, what is there that they like about this show? And so, I decided to take a fair look into it. Revisit the show, if you will. And ask myself the question, like I did with Transformers 2007, is it that bad? So, marking this the second of that little series thing, let's take a look at Henry Danger and find out really just how bad it is. And we can start by talking about the obvious. The show itself is not targeted at an older audience. And so, I will admit, I am not within its general target audience. So, a lot of its humor probably just ran by me, because I didn't find it funny in any way. However, to a little kid, it might be amusing. So, to give it that fair point, I'm definitely not within its target audience. So, congratulations, you're gonna appease little kids. However, if you want to be a truly good show, you're gonna have to do a little more. So, to put myself back in danger, let's look back at Henry. The main concept of the show circles around a superhero and his sidekick. A concept that's never been done before. I mean, there has never been a single superhero parody show in the history of anything ever. Okay, I get it. As the saying goes, there is nothing new under the sun. But you still have to be a little original to the concept, and from what I've seen, there's nothing new. And based on the concept itself, you can tell it's not going to be story-based. I mean, the main concept is the superhero is indestructible, and that would not, that just would not work in a story-based format. Because there's nothing inspiring if your character is invincible. There's not really anything you can do. So, they were already starting off on a negative point if they were trying to go story route. So they decided to go the comedy route. Now, so fair warning, this is where it gets into a little bit of dangerous territory for me. Comedy is very subjective. And many people might disagree with my opinions on it. But a lot of Henry Danger's jokes rely on just easy humor. And very unoriginal humor. For example, earlier today, I was watching an episode where they go into space. And it starts off with a joke about how, hey, you got my chocolate and my peanut butter. How dare you? And it goes on about how, oh, this is actually really good. Well, I mean, it doesn't really go on, but it just states that. Either way, it's a joke I've seen before, and I can tell you exactly where I've seen this one before. The show Phineas and Ferb. One of Disney XD's, well, I guess originally Disney, but that's beside the point, most famous shows. In the episode of the show, Buford comes complaining to Phineas and Ferb, saying that Baljeet got peanut butter on his chocolate, and he wanted them to fix that. And now, the jokes have the same setup, basically. There's one difference. In Phineas and Ferb, they went the extra mile, and had Baljeet still mad, even after saying it might be good. I mean, I feel like that extends the joke to a lot funnier, because it kind of takes away what you might expect. It takes away the exact obvious thing what to do was. With Henry Danger, they took the easier route. Like, the obvious one that takes less thinking. I mean, I shouldn't say easier route because it's not controversial at all. But, it just comes off as kind of, really obnoxious, the way this show runs. But, that's not even the worst part of their comedy. Because in my opinion, one of the worst things you can do in a show is have bad characters. And this show's characters range from mediocre to annoying. Henry himself is not the worst. He's a character type that's been done before. He's just your typical teenager in a teenage sitcom. Captain Man's just kind of annoying. Schwa's, I just kind of found a little very boring, honestly. I mean, he has a couple of moments that were decent, I guess. Charlotte's your typical girl power character who's just there to make people feel good about themselves. And don't get me wrong, gender equality is necessary, and it can be an issue in modern society, and I'm going to admit that. But she does not portray this issue very well. But in all of these characters, all of them, pale in comparison to one really irritating character on this show, Piper. Now, if I were not doing No Clip November, I would show you just a montage of her being really loud and annoying. But instead, let me just give you an example, personally. Say something were to happen to me, like, oh no, I got this speaker, and it fell over, and I'm Piper. Here's my reaction. Yeah! Ah! You freaking knocked over my freaking speaker! As you can tell from my example there, huge anger issues. And this could be funny if written well. But instead, it just comes off as annoying because she's never punished. And that's not really funny, because the setup of these jokes should be setting up for Piper to get some misery. And that so it would feel justified. We'd feel a sense of justice, if you will. And that's kind of how most of these shows work. But Henry Danger doesn't get that. Piper's by far one of the worst characters I've ever seen in any show ever. I mean, that's just a fact. For me, I could not stand her, and she deteriorated the rest of the show, which in and of itself was a very mediocre and dry show for me. She was kind of the thing that put the straw on the camel back, if you know what I mean.
Well, clearly you just don't understand the complexity that is Henry Danger. Or, I mean, you must simply learn it. Shut up, James.
Alright, James, you do realize that could be applied to anyone who says that any humor is bad. Just because I don't like the humor of the show does not mean I don't get it. I do understand where some of the jokes in this show are coming from. Piper is supposed to be funny because you didn't expect her to get that bad. The problem is, it gets old. It's kind of like retelling the same joke. Once you've heard it about 1,000 times, it's not funny anymore. So, it's just beating a dead horse at this point, honestly. But, as for the whole show, is it as bad as I claimed it was in my first review? Looking back at it, no. However, by no means is it really good. At least in my opinion. I did not like this show, but I probably went a little too heavily against it in my first review of Gas or Fail. It's not as bad as I said it was, but by all means, it's still bad. I would not watch this willingly at any point, really. I only revisited it to see if maybe there was something I missed due to the shocking amount of dislikes I had on that video. So, well, other than that, what is there to say? It's not the worst thing ever, but it's far from good. Either way, I will be seeing you in my next episode of Nickvember, when we take a look into The Loud House. Once again, to see why that show is actually great, despite what I said in my Brawl and Family review. But, until then, I'm Mr. Viewer, and be sure to subscribe if you like my content, and give me a like in this video, I would really appreciate it. But, even if you don't, I hope you have an excellent day. Goodbye. I don't even know what that was a weird ending.